Hello and welcome to Standard Sports Ashes coverage. I'm joined by Will McPherson from Sydney to preview the fourth Ashes test. Of course, the urn already gone for England. They trail Australia 3-0. In theory, two tests to go, but the only place we can really start, Will, as we look ahead to the game is with COVID. The situation has worsened markedly since the last test. I mean, talk us through a little bit of how it's hit England's preparation, and also B, just the kind of general atmosphere and environment around COVID at the moment in Sydney.
Yeah, there's been a lot going on with COVID here. Australia have lost one player, Travis Head. He's got the virus. He's isolating in Melbourne. England have got 9 positive cases in the camp. Fortunately, no players, but 4 members of support staff and then 5 members of their family, including Chris Silverwood and his whole family, which is not ideal. He's the head coach. They're also missing Jeetan Patel, the spin bowling coach, and John Lewis, the fast bowling coach. So they've been basically, England training has been stripped back. It's been like the 1990s all over again here. They've been kind of bowling at themselves, and rather than having coaches throw at them. So it's been a bit unusual. Been a slightly homespun build up. Nick Hockley, who's the Cricket Australia chief executive, has tested positive. Melbourne Stars in the Big Bash have had a huge outbreak. They've lost 10 players. Glenn McGrath, who this game is named after, the McGrath Foundation test in memory of his late wife Jane McGrath. He's tested positive. So I think that gives you a sense of where things are. There are also members of the media, both on broadcast and print side, who've tested positive. Things are kicking off a little bit, I would say, in Sydney, and there's a lot of COVID about. But the game is looking good to go ahead. No further players after Head have tested positive. So yeah, play on at this stage.
So let's talk a little bit about the cricket then. 2 tests we hope to come. What's in it for England other than 2 potential hidings to kind of blow morale even more than it already is? Because it feels like, we've had the post-mortem, we've had the inquest. Is there any more anger that can come if England do get stuffed twice more? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, a whitewash is a whitewash. It's that's what they're playing to avoid. There's been 2 this century, 06, 07, and then 13, 14. Things are a lot better if you get out alive with a game drawn or preferably 1, maybe 2. They've got 2 games. England are a beaten team. I would say the wheels are off. The forecast is for a little bit of rain this week, which would help them, obviously. And they're hoping for a sort of siege mentality, bunker spirit kind of thing, where they can pull out a result in either Sydney or Hobart or both. They've, as I mentioned, with their training, it's been kind of old school, and I wonder if that might help. Actually, not because Chris Silverwood isn't here. It's desperate that he's not here. I feel desperately for him and his family in isolation, but just stripping things back, working for each other. A few families have gone home, which I think could actually help. I'm not normally massively in favour of families being on tour with the players, but I think a little bit of simplicity again, and that could help. But they're in a deep rut. There's probably no player at this stage who's leaving the tour advancing their reputation, which is difficult to say. But they've got to find a way out of this. I think the pitch in Sydney will have a slightly green look to it, but will actually play pretty well. There's some rain about. They should draw this game, but that's easy to say at this stage.
I was going to say they could need kind of a full 3 days of rain or something if they collapse quite the way they have in the last few tests. We'll be back to discuss the first day's play, presuming that there is some, whether COVID or weather intervenes before then, but fingers crossed. Cheers, Will. We'll speak then.